Once upon a time, in the green rolling countryside of England, there lived a boy named Jack. Jack was 10 years old, with bright blue eyes and a spirit that refused to stay still. He lived with his mother in a tiny falling down cottage at the edge of a quiet village. Now Jack and his mother were poor, very, very poor. Their roof leaked when it rained, their walls were cold in winter, and most nights, their dinner was nothing more than a thin bowl of soup and half a piece of bread. They had one thing of value, just one, a gentle old cow named Bessie, who gave them milk every morning. But one gray morning, Jack's mother sat down at the kitchen table, put her head in her hands, and said, "Jack, my dear, Bessie has stopped giving milk. We have no money, no food, nothing left to sell. You must take Bessie to the market today and sell her for the best price you can get. It is the only way." Jack looked at his mother's tired face, at her worn hands, at the empty kitchen shelves, and he nodded. "I will get the best price, mother. I promise." He did not know that the day ahead would be the most extraordinary of his entire life. Jack set off down the country road, leading old Bessie behind him. The morning was gray and cold, the fields empty and quiet. He had not walked far when a strange old man appeared, sitting on a stone wall beside the road. The man was small and thin, with twinkling eyes and a wide, mysterious smile. He looked at Bessie, then looked at Jack, and said, "Fine morning for a walk, boy. Where are you taking that fine cow?" Jack explained. The old man's eyes lit up. "Sell her to me, boy. I will give you something, worth far more than any money." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small leather pouch. He opened it slowly, and inside were 5 small beans. But these were no ordinary beans. They were deep midnight blue, with tiny silver swirls on their surface, glowing very faintly, like they contained something alive. Jack stared at them. "Beans," he said. "You want to trade a cow for beans?" The old man leaned close and whispered, "Not just any beans, boy, magic beans. Plant them tonight and see what morning brings. I promise you, your life will never be the same." Now Jack was young and curious, and perhaps not entirely wise. He handed over Bessie's rope, took the 5 small beans, and ran home. His mother was not pleased. "Beans?" she cried. "You traded our only cow for 5 beans!" She was so upset, she threw the beans straight out the window, sent Jack to bed without supper, and cried herself to sleep. But that night, something happened. In the dark garden, where the beans had fallen, the ground began to tremble. Roots burst through the soil, shoots exploded upward, twisting and climbing, growing faster than anything had ever grown before. By morning, Jack opened his eyes, looked out his window, and gasped. Where yesterday there had been a small, empty garden, now stood the most enormous beanstalk the world had ever seen. It was as thick as an oak tree, brilliant green, with enormous broad leaves, and it climbed and climbed and climbed straight up through the clouds and disappeared into the sky above. Jack stood at the base, staring upward, his heart hammering. He knew he should stay. He knew it was dangerous. He knew his mother would say no. But the beanstalk was right there, reaching up into the unknown sky. And Jack was Jack. He grabbed the first branch and began to climb. Jack climbed and climbed and climbed, past the rooftops, past the birds, past the clouds themselves, until finally he pulled himself up through a gap in the clouds and stepped onto a completely different world. Above the clouds, the sky was brilliant and golden, and stretching before him was a massive stone road leading to the most enormous castle he had ever seen. Jack walked along the stone road, his boots crunching on the golden ground, his eyes wide with wonder. He reached the castle door. The door alone was the size of a house. Jack knocked, the sound like a tiny tap on a mountain. The door swung open, and there stood a woman, enormous, but with kind eyes and a worried expression. She looked down at tiny Jack, her eyes going wide. "A human boy? Up here? Oh, you poor thing. You must leave immediately. My husband will be home soon, and he eats boys like you." But Jack was hungry and cold and had nowhere else to go. "Please," he said quietly, "just a little food. and I will be gone before he returns." The woman hesitated, then sighed, and let him in. Jack sat in the enormous kitchen, eating enormous bread and enormous soup, everything 10 times his size, but absolutely delicious. And then the whole castle shook. Boom! 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 Footsteps, like thunder, getting closer and closer and closer. The woman grabbed Jack, shoved him inside the enormous oven, leaving the door slightly open. And then the door crashed open, and in walked the giant. He was enormous, bigger than a house, his head nearly touching the ceiling, his boots shaking the floor with every step. He stood in the center of the kitchen, lifted his massive head, sniffed the air. Once, twice, 3 times, and then bellowed in a voice like thunder. "Fee-fee-fo-fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, be he alive or be he dead. I'll grind his bones to make my bread." Jack pressed himself flat inside the oven, barely breathing, his heart pounding so hard. He was certain the giant could hear it. The giant's wife said calmly, "You always imagine things, dear. Sit down and eat your supper." The giant grumbled, but sat down and ate his enormous meal. After eating, he called out, "Wife, bring me my golden goose." The woman brought out a plump white goose with golden feathers on her wings and set her on the table. "Lay," the giant commanded, and the goose laid a perfect solid golden egg. Jack's eyes went wide inside the oven. A goose that lays golden eggs. Soon the giant's eyes grew heavy. His massive head dropped, and he began to snore, each snore like a small earthquake. Jack crept out of the oven, grabbed the golden goose, tucked her under his arm, and ran. The goose squawked. The giant's eyes snapped open. He saw Jack running, saw his golden goose under the boy's arm, and roared, "Thief! Come back here! Come back with my goose!" Jack ran faster than he had ever run, through the enormous kitchen, down the stone road, to the beanstalk. He grabbed the beanstalk and started climbing down, as fast as his arms and legs would go. Above him, the clouds parted, and the giant's enormous face appeared, looking down with fury. Boom, boom, boom. The giant began climbing down after him, the whole beanstalk shaking, swaying violently. With the giant's enormous weight, Jack climbed faster. The ground still far below, the giant getting closer above. "Mother!" Jack screamed. "Mother, bring the axe." His mother heard him, ran out of the cottage, axe in hand, staring up in absolute disbelief at the beanstalk, at her son climbing down, and at the enormous, furious giant. Following him, Jack hit the ground, grabbed the axe from his mother, and began to chop. Chop, chop, chop. The beanstalk cracked, swayed, and with one final crash, came tumbling down. The giant fell with it, disappearing into the distance, never to be seen again. And so, my dear friends, Jack and his mother were never poor again. The golden goose laid a golden egg every single day. They fixed their leaking roof, filled their empty shelves, and ate a warm meal every single night. But Jack never forgot the lesson of that extraordinary day, that sometimes the greatest adventures come from the most unexpected places. A handful of beans thrown in the garden changed everything. So remember this: never be afraid of the unknown. Never be afraid of climbing higher, and never ever give up, no matter how impossible things seem, because you never know what is waiting for you. Above the clouds, this was Mr. Claus. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this adventure, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe for more exciting stories, and tell me in the comments, would you have climbed that beanstalk? Until next time, stay brave, stay bold, and never stop climbing. Goodbye for now.